To determine first player in Australia, we play scissors, paper, rock. In more British parts of the world, I understand people play scissors, paper, stone, which is just objectively less satisfying to say out loud, but even that is better than the game they play in Renton, Washington, which is sheltered by ghosts, screaming nemesis, nowhere to run. Though that is because it's actually a game of chicken, and it's more of a whoever plays their card second wins. Nowhere to Run is a black 2-mana removal spell from Duskmourn. It's an enchantment with flash that gives a creature -3/-3 until end of turn. Perfect for removing a screaming nemesis without dealing damage to it and turning off your life gain for the rest of the game, but with the additional strange and unique rider of turning off hexproof and ward forever. Obviously, as a mono red player, I cannot love cards that were printed as specific hate pieces for the second best mono red card ever printed after Kumano faces Kakazan. Like and subscribe. But to me, the crime of targeting screaming nemesis is far outweighed by the fact that Nowhere to Run eliminates Bogles entirely. Even if my opponent has boosted a Bogle far beyond the 3 toughness, I can simply point a Bitter Triumph at it afterwards. Or alternatively, and more insultingly, bounce it to hand. Nowhere to Run is absolutely incredible, and I'm so happy that we have it, but also I'm so happy that it was printed as a target creature gets -3/-3 removal, as opposed to some kind of conditional destroy target creature effect. Because a card like Bitter Triumph is always good. You can always Bitter Triumph the Ouroboros, but Nowhere to Run is that really satisfyingly designed kind of card that is incredibly good because if you miss the window for casting it, it turns into an absolute brick. And critically, it's not a brick in the sense that it literally does nothing. It still switches off hexproof and ward. It'll still remove a creature your opponent has, just probably not the giant creature that your opponent has been building up for 4 turns if you top deck the Nowhere to Run. You can punish somebody for not boosting their Bristly Bill, just like you can catch an Ouroboros on the turn it comes down. Perhaps your opponent has Voltroned their Optimistic Scavenger up to the roof, and you're just gonna have to be satisfied with using Nowhere to Run as a combat trick to allow you to trade with the Optimistic Scavenger and get your stuff out from underneath there, sheltered by ghosts. One of my favorite things about Magic, and yes, I have a lot of favorite things about Magic, is the diverse and healthy ecosystem of 2-mana black removal spells. Choosing between Bitter Triumph, Nowhere to Run, and Strategic Betrayal all in standard is really interesting. Not only does it come down to what is necessary in the meta at the moment, obviously Strategic Betrayal is very important until VV Cauldron gets banned, but there's enough ambiguity that there is space for personal expression. That's not to say there aren't times where one or the other is an objectively correct card. Playing, say, a black-white nurturing pixie deck without a few copies of Nowhere to Run to bounce back to your hand for additional card advantage-based removal is obviously a massive wasted opportunity. What's honestly the only disappointing factor of Nowhere to Run is the fact that it's going to rotate, and in larger formats it's not really up for discussion, seeing as how older formats are generally infested with absolute design mistakes. And no matter how much hate Nowhere to Run gets for turning off people's uninteractive pet decks, I would never call it a design mistake. It is one of the cleanest, nicest cards ever designed again. It's just that that bottom paragraph is such an absolute dog's breakfast that we could not put it in Foundations.